I got a call not too long ago from a friend of mine named Ronnie, and he has a little 6-year-old boy named Andrew, real cute. He'll probably be the youngest student that I've ever had in my workshop. Ronnie had the idea of having them both make rings, and Ronnie was going to help make Andrew's ring. We're in beautiful Thailand, the most exotic place. We built a beautiful cafe about 12 years ago. We planned it for 2 years, and just behind the cafe is a workshop, with probably the most intense little workshop that you've ever seen. With the help of my drone, I'm able to spin it around and show you the grounds of this place. Ronnie works when I was there as a robotics teacher, but now I think he's teaching physics. He can pretty well teach everything. He's a really kind guy and a really nice person. One of the things about living here is that it's a magical place, and like no other place that I've ever been to. I've been here, I taught at ISB for 28 years, and it was so happy that I got a phone call from Ronnie wanting to make 2 rings, one for him and one for Andrew when he grows up. My wife is pretty much everything at the cafe. She's the cashier, she's the waitress and the cook, and her food is out of this world. We use only premium food. The cafe is beautiful and covered in plants to the tune of about 750,000 baht. Behind the cafe is my silver workshop, which you can take, and I've had a lot of people from around the world find me on Facebook and take my silver workshop and make pendants and pins and rings and just about anything. One of the things that surprised me about this little 6-year-old, he is the first person that I've ever had in my shop is this young, and I was worried about his focus on 11,000 tools that crowd this space. But he was so interested in every part of it, and he participated. He actually helped his father, and his father is a wonderful father, and he really involved his son in the making of these 2 pure silver rings. I was amazing how Andrew held up to these 3 hours of work, but there wasn't a time where he sort of lost interest, and that's so unusual, and I think it's because of the fathering of Ronnie. He's a wonderful teacher, and he's also probably as well a wonderful father. Silver is such a beautiful material, and when you hammer on it, it gets tempered and hard, so you have to anneal it. And they went through all the processes, and I only took over where something was more than what they would know. So I took over where you needed some finesse. But again, this little boy did wonderful, wonderful work with his father and made an experience I think that he'll never forget. The workshop landed at 3 hours, but normally you can make a ring in an hour in my class very, very easily, finished. And I engrave the inside of the rings. When silver is hit, it has to be softened, and this process goes on and on. It is called annealing, and it's something when you do silver work that you always have to do because you're always hardening it, and we call that kind of hardening work hardening. But Andrew did the filing, he did the hammering, he put the pattern into the ring, and of course the ring is going to be made at a size that for him when he grows up, an estimated size that his father came up with. But you can see how deeply Ronnie cares about him understanding what he's doing and helping out with the process. The bending of the ring is very hard to do. It has to be done in a very special way where the 2 pieces meet. They butt up against each other exactly at 90 degrees. And that's very important so that the soldering remains very strong. So it actually, when you're all finished, it'll look like one piece. Ronnie told me that his mother, when she died or passed away, she left him a ring.
Looking like a jet engine. So make sure you spin it like this and conform it, and then look down the bar. And any wrinkles you see which are high, you can hit it like that. And then again, I said reverse it. Keep reversing it. Okay, I'm gonna let you do this now. And just look down, and anything doesn't conform, just kick it in. This
I gave them instruction on each part of the process, and I think I made it pretty clear what they had to do. But can you imagine a kindergartner in my class? This is the first time in 11 years I've ever had a child in my class and instruction that's this young. But he was so focused, he just blew me away. And I'm going to have a little bit of a talk with the both of them about their experience, as I always wind up doing on each workshop. A lot of the machines I showed Andrew how to use, and he was really interested. And inside the ring I engraved their names and the date.
Making 2 rings. If I asked you for the rings, did you put them in your pocket?
No, there's one right here in my hand.
Can I take it? I'm going to hold it to the camera. So this is Ronnie, and this is Andrew.
Hi.
Hello.
And Andrew was a bambino when I remember him. He was a little tiny baby, and he's grown up, and he's in kindergarten at ISB. And Ronnie, you were robotics.
I was robotics and physics.
And I used to tell Ronnie all the time he looks like a highway cop. I don't know what. I used to call him the state trooper. Exactly. I can imagine him walking up to my van and asking me to get out and for my ID and my license. From the minute I met him, I felt that way. But this gentleman here is one of the best teachers at ISB. I know you'll. I'm not blowing smoke up your butt, but I'm telling you the truth. This guy's one of the best teachers, and I had to teach at the Invention Center, and I had one guy who was in there was a nutcase, and he's gone. And I had this guy was in another room, and he was teaching robotics, and I think you were using Vex.
Yes, that's correct.
And that stuff is not cheap.
No.
My school just bought it because we're going to have robotics at my school. And he was amazing. He knew where everything was, and he was totally organized, and the kids loved him.
Yeah.
And he's sort of a natural teacher, which is really pleasant because, it was new to me because I was teaching at ISB for 27 years alone, and then all of a sudden I was in this cooperative kind of setup called the Invention Center. And I wish he was my immediate neighbor, but he was over like in his own little room in the back of the Invention Center. They just made these beautiful silver rings. They're 100% silver. So this is not sterling. Most people work in sterling, but this is 100% silver. I always work in 100%. And Ronnie's been a good friend, and I've known him a long time. And he's one of the few people that I want to stay connected to over at ISB. But there's still a few kids. Don Hutner, do you know him?
Oh, yes, he's retiring.
He's retiring this year, and he's a great guy. And I retired with a whole crew. I'm out of ISB 7 years. So what I'm going to ask you, don't get scared.
Okay.
Relax. What was the experience for you to do this today with your youngster, with Andrew here too?
Well, I remember doing this with you in a workshop several years ago, probably 8 years ago, and I always wanted to make a ring with my son because my mom left me a ring to pass on to my wife, and I felt it would be nice to have a ring that we could pass on the male side too. So to have this opportunity where we made a ring together, but it's also something that he could potentially use someday if he decides to get married, is very special to me. and I wanted Andrew to be here, and I was really surprised how much he could actually do in terms of the ring making.
Yeah,
So that was
he
really nice.
participated pretty well
he did
today.
really well.
And he's pretty patient with everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, you told me when you called me, I want to bring my 6-year-old, and you said he's really well behaved, and he is.
Yeah.
So, Andrew, it's really been a pleasure. And you're the youngest participant, and I've been here 11 years teaching adults, and you're the youngest guy who's ever come in here, and you actually did a lot of beautiful work today.
Thank you.
You're very welcome, and you're also brought up so politely. That's wonderful. So it's been a real pleasure, Ron,
Thank you, Jerry.
having you here, and Andrew, and I'm not going to discuss your future plans at ISB, but you were great. When I was there, I had somebody who was a cohort, a friend, and I just liked the fact that you were also really good at what you do. Your kids were really disciplined, and you had a lot of contests with those robots.
Yeah.
I remember all of that. I wanted to steal half the parts. Here, Andrew, I'm going to give you, I don't know which ring that is, your father's, but Ron made a ring so that when Andrew grows up, he'll have it. It's not Andrew's size now because Andrew is growing like a carrot so fast, and it's nice that he'll have a ring in the future. It's a cool idea that you came up. And we engrave these rings with the inside ring engraver, and they have the dates and both your initials in both rings.
That's right.
Right. Is there anything else you just added? What was the experience like for you? Was it boring at all?
No, not at all. The thing I like about this is that I found it very relaxing, to be honest with you. And it's just so neat to see the metal come from just a strip of silver in this case into a design that both Andrew and I came up with, which was really rewarding and really nice. And you did an excellent job of coaching us along the way. And there were certain things that are very technical that you had to do, but for the most part, we did probably 90+% of the ring making, which was phenomenal.
But I have kids making spectacular rings, and I am at Kirapat now. I have the only trade level jewelry class in Thailand on the high school level.
Wow.
So it's
That's
pretty
amazing.
cool. Yeah, it's very special. And of course, I'm older than any teacher in the school. But I'm having a wonderful time, and it's actually the recipe to keep me young.
That's great.
I love it. Andrew, it's great to meet you today.
Thank you.
Did you learn anything today?
Yes.
I think you learned a little bit. That's good.
What was your favorite part, Andrew?
When we were doing the hammering.
Oh, that was fun.
That's the most fun. I think when I was young, I liked the hammer more than anything else. So thank you for coming.
Thank you, Jerry. We really appreciate it.
Thank
It was
you.
a wonderful time.